So it's 2023 and you can now spend hundreds of thousands of pounds on whiskey like the Macallan Reach. But what do you want to do if you want to flex your love of whiskey for people who can't come into your house and see your collection? You've got to show off how wealthy you are and you've got to show off how much you love whiskey. Well, there is actually, surprisingly enough, something that came out in 2020 that I had no idea about, and it is of course the Aston Martin DBX Bowmore edition. So there you go, it is literally an Aston Martin and Bowmore DBX collaboration, and I don't really know how I missed this. I think it came out in 2020 or thereabouts, and it's just outrageous, isn't it? It's a bespoke collaboration, and you know there's a lot of unique things about this collaboration. The first one is that it's got its own unique paint colour, which is Bowmore Blue, but it also features loads of other different marketing collaborations to make you want to buy this over your standard Aston Martin DBX. Obviously, you've got copper. Obviously, copper's going to feature everywhere because whiskey. What else do we use? We use copper. Oh yeah, we can use some of the old stills. Brilliant. Let's use some old still parts. Brilliant. Okay, so they've got some of these old still parts and put them on the side strakes where you're walking into the car. The interior can be obsidian monotone or copper tan metallic obsidian duotone, accented with Bowmore tweed. I mean, sounding good, isn't it? The best bit for me is the polished copper cup holders. Still plaques made from recycled copper from the original Bowmore stills, and a gloss black center console trim with bespoke hand detailing and copper foil detailing. So I think we're getting the picture. This is the standard Aston Martin DBX with quite a bit of copper thrown at it. And not only does the car come with copper impregnated in it across as many surfaces as they can get their copper into, they also came, or comes, I don't know if they've all been sold, it was a very small limited edition with Q by Aston Martin accessories, obviously playing on the James Bond sort of theme there, such as a Bowmore tweed picnic blanket and a leather hold-all. Now, normally an Aston Martin DBX is £160,000, so what do you think this one retailed for? Because I've got no idea. I can't find the retail price anywhere. I can't find out whether they actually followed through with this, other than to say that when they did the most recent ARC 52 1 of 1 that went into Sotheby's, the person would get a tour in the Aston Martin DBX Bowmore edition, and that is what triggered me to sort of go researching and finding this. And it's like this is it, people. You know, if we think that the whiskey industry is so geared up for providing whiskey to go and drink that whiskey, then why the hell are we making collaborations for limited edition cars that are dual branded between Bowmore and Aston Martin? And I think there's two reasons that why we're seeing so many of these luxury collaborations at the moment. You've obviously got the fact that the brand reinforcement, so that you've got collaborations between similar and like-minded brands that enhance the brand image by aligning similar luxury products. So Aston Martin are arguably one of the best supercars or luxury cars that you can buy that comes from the United Kingdom, and likewise Bowmore is also one of the top luxury brands selling whiskey in the United Kingdom. For now, maybe Scotland will disappear outside of the United Kingdom at some point, but at the moment they are two very, you know, people who are trying to push their idea of elegance and possession, which is even understandable for Aston Martin, who sell, you know, the cheapest products, what, 50, 70 grand probably. I'm not all that au fait with car pricings, I must admit, but it won't be cheap. But you look at a Bowmore 10-year-old or 12-year-old or whatever, you know, you've got these companies that are aligning themselves with big brands to make them like luxury, but their core line of sales is volume sales of cheap product. And why do they do this? Well, it makes the brands aspirational, because if you can see your Aston Martin Bowmore driving around, or you can see your 200 or 300 grand Macallan Reach, or you can see your other sort of hyper expensive release from a distillery, what does that actually do? It turns your brand into an aspirational brand. it means that you can't afford the £200,000 Aston Martin Bowmore, or you can't afford the Aston Martin Black Bowmore edition, or you can't afford the one of one Bowmore Arc 52s. But you know what? You can drink their youngest core range offering for less than £50 and be associated with that luxury and that luxury, really. That's all it is. The other reason why brands do these collaborations, it's to reach new audiences. It's collaborations that help new demographics sort of get in touch with each other, because they're probably very similar demographics, and it increases their brand awareness. So it's it's not out of the question to think that one of Aston Martin's very best clients might be, as a little jolly or a bit of a sweetener, be whisked off to Islay to Bowmore in an Aston Martin DBX and be given a tour around for being a very good VIP. I can't see it working the other way around, and one of Bowmore's biggest clients being sent to Aston Martin, but maybe they are. So it's just this sort of like cross-fertilization. But anyway, this has been a bit of a waffly video about the Aston Martin DBX Bowmore edition. We are in the times, people, where Aston Martin and whiskey manufacturers are combining to make a single product, which I find absolutely fascinating. And for that reason, for anyone who's still watching this little bit of the video, because not many people do, this is why the whiskey market is going to continue, hopefully, on this upward and general trending upward trajectory that we're going to see. Aston Martin have got much to lose as they stand to gain if the change, the perception of whiskey changes. So these brands are way bigger than me and you. They're way bigger than, their corporate spending is absolutely vast. So they are thinking, as I think, that whiskey is now a luxury asset, and it's very unlikely to change from being that luxury asset and status symbol going forward.